Through his highly suggestive and sensual paintings, Indian artist Avishek Sen has always sought to showcase and reframe the conversation between man and nature. Sen's uncanny conflations of animal and plant, animal, man and animal are nothing if they are not metaphors for man's endless lust for dominating nature. No surprise that his breathtaking images have effortlessly become metaphors for our strange times.
He was born in a tiny village in West Bengal, and went on to attend one of the country's most acclaimed art schools. But that sort of village life of his early years still kind of informs his work, especially kind of the relationship between man and nature. His primary medium, of course, is watercolor, and his work, I find it to be extraordinarily detailed and technically astute. So what is this work like? It's very sensual. It can be sensual, playful, but always, as I said, there's the interplay, the interconnectedness between man and nature. A common figure that he sometimes turns to is a leopard, and I think the leopard is in the show as well, with a sort of oversized banana. That it's as a private part, at his private parts. It's kind of a comical, just sort of a comical kind of take on sort of the male psyche and how they can be sort of, I guess, ruled by that area of their bodies. But overall, I would say the interplay between man and nature is really important. I mean, it was important before. I know that he's always been concerned, as so many artists are, about the global devastation of climate change, and the coronavirus pandemic just accentuates the sort of these themes that we're all dependent on each other.
Avishek Sen has always delighted in playful titles that suggest that you, the viewer, have arrived in the middle of a work's plot line, and that the work itself is part of a larger chronological sequence and is interlinked to an all-encompassing mythical framework, uniquely the consequence of his wild imagining. The Universe Within, a 2019 work, is the result of this detailed tuning in by which Sen accesses the galactic through the domestic. The subject of study seems to be a halved pumpkin. The hyper-realist interior is cushioned with febrile strands that host seeds, and its color contrasts mightily against the bruised pumpkin orange of the circumference. The universe within is alluded to, but not made obviously visible. But Sen makes it easy for us to touch its nebulous subjectivity with our imagination. Sacrifice, a 2019 work, features another study of a melon-like being whose surface is tantalizingly wet, and underneath which are packed glistening seeds as if in amniotic fluid. Oddly, while both these still lifes suggest the erotic potentiality of the fertile, they seem candidly non-sexualized.
Through his suggestive and sensual paintings, Avishek has always sought to showcase and reframe the conversation between man and nature, between man and man. There is a thread of darkness, of the unnatural and the forced that flows through Sen's work, making it difficult for the viewer to internalize what they see. Sen, quite deliberately, places his viewer in an uncomfortable place, a place where the same viewer shifts around, checks to see other people's reaction, as if he, the viewer, is really checking up on himself. It is this ability of Avishek Sen which makes his art transcend time and place and create a memorable visual that is both rooted and floating free, a visual that is entirely his own.